My name is Charles Mullins, a graduate student at GCU in the Master's Degree Program for Education, teaching English as a second language. This video is just to give a brief description of my dispositions for teaching and my dispositions of education, and also my thoughts and feelings on professional behavior and what an educator should look like. Well, for me, I'll come into the classroom with a lot of dispositions for teaching. My family has a strong ethic of education that everybody should learn and can learn, and also based off of the history, if you can't tell, being a person of color in the United States, it wasn't always something that was granted to us. So my family's always instilled in us that, hey, this is something that you have to do. We can do this now. People have fought for you to get an education, so make the best of it. I have a drive and motivation to help students learn. I believe that every student can learn. Their methods may be different. Their learning styles are very different also. So I believe in learning my students, filling them out, figuring out how each individual learns, as well as how the group learns. In some instances, I've given presentations where I have to write things down. I'll also demonstrate what I'm doing, and students can hear, they can see, and then they can read, and I'll have them repeat some things in demonstration. I do like the fact that I'm teaching in the inner city. I'm a student of the inner city, born and raised here in Baltimore, and the schools that I've worked in and would like to work in are schools in my community, because this is where I grew up and I would like to give back to my community. I do promote diversity and culture on all of my students. I believe everybody is an individual. Everybody does not have to fit into the mold of society. So I let students feel that they can be themselves in my class. Feel free to be yourself. Express yourself. As long as you're not harming anybody else, go for it. I do offer African drumming during recess and lunchtime, so students can come. Sometimes students are really stressed out. They can take a break and perform African drumming. Also learn a bit about culture and heritage, because our school is about 90% African American. The other students are Latino. I also involve things in the community when I'm teaching, giving concepts of Spanish. I'm a Spanish teacher also, so giving concepts of Spanish, the Spanish language. I'll have students go to one of the stores in the area where I do know the owner, and they are Dominican. So the students go there a lot anyway, but I tell them next time you go, you have to make sure that you purchase something and use Spanish when you do it, because I'll make sure that I will be going to the store and I'll check. Anybody who does this will receive extra credit. So I do give incentives, extra credit incentives, pushing students to learn. I do spend time outside of school learning about other things, other ways that I can help students and push and drive them. I am an advocate and a fighter for my student. If my student is having a problem, I will be there for them. I always tell my students, make sure you respect yourself and others, as well as other teachers. I don't want a student to disrespect a teacher. I said, if you have a problem with another teacher, come to me and we'll talk. I'll talk with the other teacher. If you're right, I'll defend you. If you're wrong, I'll come. If it seems like you were in the wrong, I'll come to you and we'll talk one-on-one about what's going on, so that way you can understand both sides of the story. I have been a spiritual, emotional person also with my students. I did have a student who attended therapy. I would notice that certain days of the week when he came to school, he just was displaced and out of place, and it sort of reminded me of myself. So I pulled him aside one day and I asked him if he was okay. He shook his head and said therapy. And then I told him, don't worry, I understand exactly how you feel. Tomorrow is when I'm gonna come in looking the same way. I have to hold it together and pull it together, but we'll work through this. Let them know, anytime you feel this way, come down to me. Get it past me, teachers, come down to me, they'll understand, just bring your work and we'll work on it. So I'm always pushing student success, student achievement. I am glad that I'm part of the community, because sometimes things in the community and at home greatly affect what's going on in school. So if a person is not a part of the community and doesn't know what's going on, they really won't understand the shifts in student behavior, shifts in student moods. So in our neighborhood, unfortunately, we did have one of the friends of one of the students had passed away, but a lot of students knew them. So the day after everybody found out, everybody was in school very emotional, and a lot of the other teachers didn't understand. I knew because I actually lived a few blocks away from the student, and I knew the student's family. So I was able to help console that. I do believe in talking with family and parents, sharing student experiences, sharing not only the bad things most teachers like to call when a student is doing something bad. I love to call when a student is doing something great, especially if it's a student who I know that a lot of teachers are calling because they may have a behavioral problem. I'm going to call that parent when they do something great, and say, hey, this is not a call about something bad. This is a call just to let you know how your student shined today in class. Like, I'm always pushing for equality among peers, equality among students, and testing. Recently, I was proctoring a standardized test, and I felt really, really badly because the students, about 10 of the students in the class, knew the answer for a question and could tell the answer for a question, even wrote it on their paper, but they did not know how to switch the keyboard so that they can input the math and exponents. It was very hard. So those are things that I bring to the table. Now, some things that I do need to work on is my empathy. Sometimes I care a little too much about my students. I really focus, I push, and I do like to see them happy, but sometimes worrying about them and worrying about what's going on with them does backfire on me and affect me in a few ways. So that is one thing that I do need to work on. My judgment and behavior are pretty good. I tend to really be able to fill out students, and I've actually do exhibit a behavior. I don't say, do as I say and not as I do. I like to lead by example, because a lot of my students are looking at me as an African American Latino male. A lot of them see me as a role model. So if I'm showing them something, they're going to model after that, and I don't want them to have the wrong idea. I want them to learn how to be professional in their current lives and professional in their school lives and professional after they leave the school. Now, getting into professionalism, teacher appearance. Teacher appearance can vary. Now, I wouldn't say a teacher can go out into something that they would wear out to the club or your night clothes, nice slacks, a polo shirt, a button-down shirt. Sometimes schools have uniforms that teachers wear. Some teachers do wear suit and ties. Now, a good place to look to know what the standards for dress wear for teachers and how the grooming standards would be the employee handbook. And the employee handbook does have a dress code for teachers. If there are any amendments or special situations and circumstances at the school level, the principal would also send out an announcement and go over what their requirements are for their dress code. As far as behavior is concerned, behaviors always should be a professional behavior. I work in an inner city school. A lot of parents will come in with an attitude and really, really upset. And instead of me just lashing back onto that parent, I have to come and try to make the parent understand where we are so that we can work to help their student do better or help their student achieve. Because we're not here to fight each other. We're here, it's all about the students. It is all about the students. As long as they're learning and growing, we're doing well. So I will do everything in my part to show them how to be professionals, teach them outside of school what they have to do, and then how to do that in life. Thank you very much for watching my video presentation.